Dr. Seuss, Theodore Seuss Geisel. Dr. Seuss was born on March 2nd, 1904, in Springfield, Massachusetts. Ted attended Dartmouth College. He became the editor-in-chief of Dartmouth's humor magazine. He contributed to the magazine by merely signing his work as Seuss, which is the first record of his using the pseudonym Seuss. After Ted graduated from Dartmouth, he left for Oxford, intending to become a professor. As he was sitting in class one day, his doodling caught the eye of Helen Palmer. Helen suggested that he should become an artist instead of a professor. He took her advice, and eventually, he took her hand in marriage as well. After college, he decided he would make a living as a cartoonist when one of his submissions was published in the Saturday Evening Post. He was later offered a staff position with a weekly newspaper in New York. At 38, Ted wanted to serve his country in World War II. He served in the U.S. Army, making movies relative to the war effort. This is where he was introduced to the art of animation. After serving in the Army, an editor at Viking Press offered Ted a contract to illustrate a collection of children's sayings. Ted's illustrations were recognized, and he considered the opportunity his first official big break in children's literature. By this time, there was no question that Ted could make a living as an illustrator and cartoonist, but he also enjoyed writing. While traveling on a train, Ted became bothered by the rhythm of its engines, which soon became the rhythm to his first children's book, And to Think That I Saw It on Mulberry Street. Though Mulberry Street is a delightful peek into the vivid imagination of a child, publishers in 1937 were not receptive. In fact, Ted presented his story to 27 publishing houses and received 27 rejections. Houghton Mifflin and Random House later asked Ted to write a children's primer using 220 new reader vocabulary words. The end result was The Cat in the Hat. In 1927, Dr. Seuss married Oxford classmate Helen Palmer. It was Helen who first suggested to Ted that he draw for a living. Helen was also a very accomplished writer. Ted also had many friends who influenced his career. Publisher Bennett Cerf was perhaps the most influential figure in Ted's early publishing career. It was Cerf who bet that Ted couldn't write a book using 50 words or less, prompting Ted to write Grain, Eggs, and Ham. In addition, Ted was very close to animator Chuck Jones, who convinced Ted to adapt How the Grinch Stole Christmas for television, and eventually Horton Hears a Who. In addition, nearly 30 of Ted's Dr. Seuss books have been adapted for television or video. Helen and Ted later divorced, and in 1968, Ted married a woman named Audrey. Books such as The Lorax, The Butter Battle Book, and You're Only Old Once were a result of Audrey's encouragement and support. Ted received many honors, including 2 Emmys, a Pulitzer Prize, a Peabody for the animated specials How the Grinch Stole Christmas and Horton Hears a Who, and a New York Library Literary Lion. 3 of his books received Caldecott Honor Awards. In 1980, the American Library Association honored Ted with a Laura Ingalls Wilder Award. At the time of Ted's death on September 24, 1991, some 200 million copies of his books, translated into 15 different languages, had found their way into homes and hearts around the world. Since then, sales continue to climb and are estimated at more than 300 million since 1991. After devoting 53 years to creating entertaining and instructive books, the good Dr. Seuss taught all that he could teach. Ted Seuss Geisel passed away on September 24, 1991, at the age of 87. Dr. Seuss has made a substantial contribution and lasting impact to children's literature and will never be forgotten.